The theme of this fair is love, as understood through the humanities disciplines, and throughout a rich day of presentations and conversations, you will engage some of the important questions raised by love wherever it is found, whatever its object or inspiration. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Relish your day.
These are all avatars, descents, incarnations of God. He came down, incarnated himself as a human being, as Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, a fish, as a boar, as a lion, and lots, and well, he's also incarnated himself as you. And the moment you try and draw a picture of God, you've really limited things. If you draw him white with blonde hair and blue eyes, over and over and over and over and over and over again, you sort of get the idea that God's white, well, and he's a man too. He is a man with blonde hair, blue eyes, etc., etc. You get this idea built in, okay? So maybe we shouldn't draw him at all.
When we say nature, we think about plants, animals, and it is different than us. We are above it. We're different from nature. But in these traditional societies, those two things are one and the same. Humans are no different than any other animal. When you look at this mountain, you just see it as a mountain with a glacier on top. But the people that live there think it is divine. This is a god to them. This is something sacred that keeps them alive.
Check this out. This is a town called San Rafael, Veracruz, Mexico. 28,000 people, same population. Look at this. Green space. This is all farmland. That's a big part of their local economy. That's a third world country. They have a per capita GDP that's about 1/10 of ours, and they can afford to do this. You know, when in the United States, people who run cities and things, they will complain about ideas of building plazas and things like that because they say, well, it costs too much to maintain it. It's expensive to bring out the crew of lawnmowers and everything to keep the place up. And my response to them is, they do it in Mexico.
What we have done in American culture is to make a kind of deal whereby we turn most aspects of our lives over to experts, right? And it's of course these experts who are doing all these things. So we turn the education of our children, we turn our health care, often we turn our diet, we turn our exercise, okay, over to experts, and we wind up feeling a sense of powerlessness because so many aspects of our lives are not controlled by us. And not only that, what's worse is that what are we going to be educated to become? We're going to be educated to become those experts.
Christianity, as it developed, the emphasis was on the coming kingdom of God. Marriage was seen as part of the old world, right? It was about property. It was about stuff. It was about inheritance and power and wealth. That's not part of the kingdom of God. You shall not covet your neighbor's house, his property, your neighbor's wife, his property, his slave girl, his property, his ox, his ass, his property, or anything else that belongs to him. Notice where the wife is in there. I mean, she's right in there with the ox and the ass. Right? Wives were not loved in this culture in the sense of romantic love. They were important because of what? That's where the sons came from.
Let me give you a top 10 list of qualities or features I would look for in a man if I were a woman. Number 1, education equals earning potential. Right? My wife helped me out on this one. By education, I mean the act of acquiring general knowledge, developing the powers of reasoning and judgment, and generally of preparing oneself intellectually for mature life. Right? All of you are on the cusp of that. Going to college, breaking away from your parents. It's an exciting time in your life.
Are you just your ability to play lacrosse? Are you just your ability to play the piano? Is that enough to constitute who you are is another subject? So what can we do to actually have that moment of recognition.
Find some common ground.
Yeah, share. Relationships aren't something that's just completed, right? We don't just finish it. We're not just automatically in a relationship that's perfect, that has recognition, that's totally intersubjective. But instead, one of the reasons we go on dates and we get to know another is that relationships are built. They're constructed. Recognition isn't something that happens in a single moment, but it's an ongoing process of seeing the other. Without having a deeper connection, we can't be complete in ourselves.
So dark is feminine and light is masculine. Dark is inactive, light is active. And these things are necessary for each other. You can't have one without the other. One turns into the other. Now the light side is called yang. The dark side is called yin. So in English we call it the yin-yang symbol. In Chinese it's called the symbol of the Tai Chi. One, the hands come up to shoulder height. Fingers point straight ahead. Two, the hands drift back towards the shoulders. Three, drop the elbows. The fingers are pointing straight up. Four, the hands lead the way down and drop to the side.
This is Anne and her husband Simon Bradstreet. Her name may be familiar to you. She's the first colonial female poet, and so we actually have quite a bit of writing from a woman in this period, which is unusual because she left these poems behind. So I'll read you hers, and I think you'll agree with me that hers sounds a little more like what you would think of as a love poem. I prize thy love more than whole mines of gold, or all the riches that the east doth hold. My love is such that rivers cannot quench, nor aught but love from thee give recompense. Thy love is such I can no way repay, the heavens reward thee manyfold, I pray. Then while we live in love, let's so persevere, that when we live no more, we may live ever.
Oh, camera again.
I'm so hungry.
Anybody out there eating?